That was from the last video. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Photo Booth because that's the easiest way on at least the Mac computers I know of how to take a picture very quickly. So you're going to want to take a picture of the image you're going to use. Now I happen to have Photo Booth down here, but if you don't have it, you can't see it on my screen, but you can click on the little magnifying glass and go to Spotlight Search and type in Photo Booth, and it pops up that way. Another way to get to it, if you're like, I don't know how to do that, is go to Go Applications and then find it that way. So I just scroll down to Photo Booth and open it that way. Oh, here I am again. Oh, you know what? Since I'm here, I'm going to do a redo of that video that I just did. So I've got my sketches. Hi. I've got my sketches right here. And I made some extra ones on another page just for the heck of it because I want to talk to you about one of the requirements for this project. So I know I already mentioned this to you before, but one of the requirements is that you're supposed to have both, I can see my lips here, both curved and straight lines in the same path. So I think this one is doing that quite successfully. So I can see the line is straight and then it's curved. So I'm not talking about having curved and straight lines in the same design. I'm talking about having them in the same actual line. Okay? Another thing is if you have a line and it runs into another line, one of them needs to stop. So you see how that stops there. You see how this stops right here. This is just so you know what you want to avoid. You see, it's a very nice design, but you see how the lines run into each other? I don't want to see that. So if this line was coming here, I should have stopped, or maybe this line should have stopped. But one of these lines should have stopped. Now this is doing that, but I don't think it's the most successful design, so I'm not going to use it. So I think I'm going to use, I've got a couple here. I've got a nice sense of movement going on with this one up here, but I don't think it's really finished. It's got a lot of empty space. Kind of liking these two right here, although I feel like this one fulfills the requirement more than this one, and I also kind of like this one too. Decisions, I'll go with this one. Okay, so what do you do next once you have that? So I'm in Photo Booth. Okay, and I'm going to press this little tiny red button right here, right? Great. Okay, and once I have that, then of course I can take that into Illustrator, which I forgot to open. And the idea is you're going to open up an 8-inch by 8-inch image to work with off of this. So, I wish I could pause the video so you don't have to watch me open up Illustrator, but that's just the way it is. This is kind of weird. Mask me out like that. It's my new face. And then once you have this basically in Illustrator, come on Illustrator, still opening, getting there. Well, while it's opening, I'm going to go back to my desktop, or actually in Photo Booth, you should see I've got all these images here. So there it is right there. And I can probably just drag that directly into Illustrator. So let's give that a try. I'm going to just take this and drag it into Illustrator, and let's see what happens. Yeah, good. Okay, so it automatically opened up an artboard for me. Now, the first thing I want to do is make sure that artboard is the right proportion. I want this to be exactly 8 inches by 8 inches. So click on the little artboard button, which is right here, the artboard tool, or Shift-O if you want to get that quickly. And then up at the top here, under width and height, we're going to set this to 8 inches, 8 inches. Okay, and click away. So this little black square is my actual artboard right there. So I don't need all this extra stuff to show. And so I'm going to Apple minus, and probably, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do this, and this is probably not the most efficient way, but I'm going to hold down the Option, no, I'm sorry, I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to make this image, you see here, fit. Now notice it's going to be backwards from what you drew, so if that bothers you, you can obviously go to Object, Transform, and then Reflect, and say Vertical, and now it's right side up. And actually the sheet says it all. You know, like, I want this to have both curved and straight lines. I want you to show movement. It's all on the sheet. So it also says that you should have at least 10 paths that have curves and straight lines. All right, so I think that's good enough for now. Very disoriented. So I'm going to, I think I'll just make it a little bit bigger this way, even though it stretches it out. Okay, I'm happy with that. I can make up the rest. I'm going to reduce the opacity on that. And then I'm going to go to my layers and lock it. And then I'm ready to start working with my pen tool. So I'm going to grab the pen tool, go to stroke, 3, fill, nothing. And then I think the rest you know how to do on your own. So coming in with the pen tool, I make a new layer and I can just start working with this. And hopefully any changes I want to make I can work with. So for example, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I've got a curve going out, so I'm going to do that. Bringing this around. So I'm using as few pen tool points as possible. Remember, if you get to places like this where you have a closed path, you want to show that circle. So I'm going to mouse down and drag and grab that circle. And remember, after the fact, if you're not happy with where something is, you press the letter A and you can move things around. So I just feel like that just improves this so much more if I can do that, you know, and I can of course mess with this and change my dimensions and do stuff like that after the fact and just kind of play around with it as I'm going. Okay, so I think the rest you can figure out on your own, but I just wanted to show you how to get started with this project.